Warning! This podcast may contain spoilers. Watch yourself. Enjoy!
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah! Yes!
Hello and welcome to the first episode, or not first episode, but another episode of Team Taku. So today we have our usual crew,
My name is
JR, and Jason.
Yep.
But we also have three others who are here today. If you guys can all announce yourselves.
Hi, my name's John.
What's up?
My name is Megan.
Woo!
I'm Micah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about a very, just a pretty high up there subject. I mean, I think it's one that, it's the eventual, it's like the eventuality of what you end up having to deal with when you become an otaku, or when you officially start saying you are an otaku. And that is just otakus versus fan-related anime.
It's kind of like...
You mean weeaboos?
It's kind of like racism in the otaku community.
It is the racism of the otaku community. Besides, of course, being another race and then trying to be somebody who, I guess, since all anime characters are Asian, but they're not Asian.
I know. Well,
but that's like cosplay. That's like cosplay racism. That's a completely different subject. We don't have to go there. But anyways,
whole other episode, cosplay racism.
Cosplay racism.
I do not like cosplay.
Yep, we'll see. We'll talk about that later. But
yeah.
So how do you guys feel about or maybe just to give them an example, like when would you say, just to give an example or the explanation about what a fan is? How would we just talk about that at least? Like, what's your guys' like JR? What's your definition of a fan?
Didn't we go over this? I
Yes,
think it was
did.
like there's a certain amount of titles you should have watched,
Yeah.
and you need to know what tsundere is, yandere, that type of
And
stuff.
Moe.
Okay, so
Moe.
Megan, if you could also give us just another explanation.
You need to know what a uke is.
Okay.
It's that 4-string instrument, right?
What would you? Oh my gosh, Micah, what would you say makes it so that you are a fan of anime only?
Same reason JR has.
Okay, so anything above that, it makes you a fan. I mean, it makes you an otaku. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, and I mean, especially with the titles, because a lot of people, I'd say, that are fans just watch mainstream anime.
Now, to clarify, what is mainstream anime? Let's also go into that as well, just because that's going to be.
If it's over here and translated and dubbed.
Now, that might not be just a true statement. I mean, Kill la Kill, for example, is now what is considered mainstream anime, and yet it just started. It just got announced that it would be dubbed. So does that mean that it's not mainstream anime yet? So does that mean that everybody who's currently...
it's still new.
But is that saying that everybody who has watched it already is not watching mainstream anime?
Well, look at Sword Art. Sword Art was like 4 episodes in.
But
everybody was cosplaying as it.
So again, does that mean that
mainstream.
that's... So, in that case...
If you hear it over here in America, it's mainstream.
If there's... there you go.
Ew!
But then that means everything.
Every
anime would be mainstream by that definition too.
How
If it has an anime, does it make it
if you
mainstream?
automatically heard about it over here, then that could make it mainstream by itself.
Exactly.
So we're gonna have to clarify what
think that's
again
exactly
is
what
mainstream. So Jason, trying to be the logical one, what would you say is mainstream?
I had a thinking face on, bruh. I wasn't ready yet.
Megan, did you have anything?
Well, I'm going to establish this. Is there a difference between a fan and a weeaboo? Because if there isn't, you should stop saying fan and start saying weeaboo.
I would say that there is no difference right now because your definition of a weeaboo is pretty harsh.
People that are fans, won't know what a weeaboo is.
Exactly.
That's the joy of calling them weeaboos.
And thus, now they will now know that they are weeaboos secretly.
And that we are laughing at them.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking, if it's going to be
First
mainstream...
one, get him to lick it.
Oh my gosh. So, we're in a hotel right now. Anyways, so, I was thinking, if you're going to make something mainstream, it most likely has to have a certain amount of fans, and I think it has to have certain qualities that are guaranteed to get an audience.
It's America.
So, for example, most things in Shonen Jump are mainstream.
Yeah.
However, there are those rare cases where it's like, for example, I think Psycho-Pass, which Psycho-Pass is a Shonen Jump manga, but I wouldn't say it's mainstream because not only do I barely hear anybody talk about it, I barely even know about people who read it or watch it or anything. But it does have a manga, it does have an anime, and so it must be popular, but it's just not enough.
That's not
Shonen Jump is by Viz. Anything by Viz will be or has been mainstream.
But
at some
point.
But Psycho Pass is one of those few exceptions where it never became mainstream.
It probably will.
It never. It's pretty It's pretty far up there. Like it's like trying to make One Piece. It's like trying to make One Piece now mainstream
would
again.
you consider Guilty Crown mainstream?
Guilty Crown.
That's mainstream for you guys.
I believe I think it depends on the crowd.
I know too many people that watch it.
There is mainstream. I think there's mainstream amongst fans, and there's mainstream amongst otakus.
If you have otaku fans,
so, for example, amongst otakus, Guilty Crown is mainstream. However, because only in the sense of there's guaranteed 2 otakus who have either heard of it, or there's one guaranteed who's watched the whole thing.
But I've seen it in Best Buy, which threw me off. Boku tomodachi ga sukunai. That's also at Best Buy. I don't know why.
Right now?
English dubs.
Right now.
In Best Buy.
Right now. About to go buy it. See you later.
Okay.
No, yeah,
but
it's Best Buy right now.
But think about it like this:
mainstream?
Inuyasha's mainstream, and yet it's not in Best Buy. So
it's sold out.
I just think no one cares about it anymore. But it's still like mainstream enough.
Love Hina.
So I would say like mainstream is mainly that anime that comes out that's very accessible, that has a giant blast of popularity, especially right when it comes out, that mainly people that only watch a few anime and don't have an interest in watching anime find it interesting and watch it. So that is mainstream.
This also can mean that some otaku do find it interesting.
Yeah.
However, typically, if an otaku still finds it interesting, they're still watching multiple series. For example, it's like when you go onto Adult Swim or you go onto Toonami and you're only watching it for one show. An otaku, on the other hand, will most likely be watching Toonami just for the entire thing, almost, if possible.
Yeah.
For example, I watch I don't watch Sword Art Online. I watch Symbiotic Titan.
I enjoy it.
I still watch Symbiotic Titan, which is not anime, but it does. I feel like it gets
American anime.
It gets noticed. We'll talk about that later. I watch Symbiotic Titan. I still watch Naruto on there, even though I've seen it all. I mean, like,
even Rasengan though.
Those Rasengans though. So I mean, I think that's a pretty fair enough description. But I think that even if an otaku is watching, or even if there are multiple otakus watching it, it has to be easily accessible to a lot of people, and a lot of people outside of the otaku community need to be watching it. Yeah. So, for example, Dragon Ball Z. When it was Dragon Ball Z, when it was still in Dragon Ball Z when it was still on Toonami and it was still fresh was mainstream.
Dragon Ball Z.
I wouldn't say that it's necessarily mainstream now. I think it's gotten to a level where it's like a classic. And so because it is a classic, it means that it's like, as much as it was mainstream, it's got enough respectability so that it can stay.
Yeah.
Sailormoon is a classic. Initial D.
Love Hina.
Initial D is a classic amongst otakus. Love Hina is a classic amongst otakus, but I think it's more of a classic amongst its genre.
Yeah.
It's like the gold standard of its genre.
Close. Yeah. One of them.
Yeah.
One of them.
All of the big three at this point, because I could think it's very difficult for anybody to actually get into them at this point because of how far they are. Yeah. So I wouldn't even say that they are. The big three have now turned themselves into the big classic.
They are. Yeah.
Because it's like most otakus have grown up with this, and so it really doesn't matter.
Dude.
Yeah.
500, 600. Now that we've kind of gone into what mainstream is, though, what is the bad part about it? Because we've already now established what it is. But why is this bad? Or why is it potentially bad?
What's the racism?
Yes,
agree, John. You said horrible
cosplay. The racism?
I agree.
Yes. Where's the racism in it? Again, say it.
Horrible cosplay.
Yeah.
Really.
Everyone really wanting to cosplay as Eren or Naruto.
Like
now, could you give us an example of that? Just from what you've been daily dealing with, or not even just yearly dealing with.
I saw like a ton of not people trying to look like Eren that don't really look like it. Like body build, like they don't exactly fit that character.
Now, this isn't to insult anybody who likes to cosplay. But it kind of is. It's more in the sense of if you're going to go as a character that's highly recognizable.
Oh,
if you're going to go as a character that's highly recognizable,
very good point.
Then I think that you need to really watch what you're doing. For example, I mean, let's say you want to cosplay as just a Gundam pilot or just a mobile suit pilot. Fine. You could just put on anyone's suit and you're automatically say, I'm just cosplaying as a character from Gundam. It's kind of messed up and it's kind of weird. I mean, if I saw somebody who was like a fat Luke Skywalker, I would just say these porkins.
Oh.
Then when I find a real Luke Skywalker, and I find the fat one, I'll be like, hey dude, say cover me, porkins, and he's just like, my goodness. But I mean, if you're gonna cosplay as somebody highly recognizable, please try to get it. And and the reason why we're noticing this with mainstream anime is because that's what typically happens.
You ruin it for
Anime Expo, for example. What year was it? Anime Expo
2013.
Yes. I'm bad with numbers.
Not bad.
But all we saw was Kirito.
Oh my god.
I believe we saw like a good 60, 70 Kiritos.
Yes.
It's like Kirito and Naruto fused and they did Shadow Clone. They were just all over.
Now, and what's really interesting is that we have this. I think we have like this prejudice against the big three, and we call them mainstream. But even though as otakus you may call them mainstream, you really don't see a lot of people cosplay as them. And when you do, you don't really see them.
We don't hate on it, you know.
Yeah.
When I saw Luffy, it's like
I think it's almost like become like a standard where it's like
seeing Goku.
They
become legendary. They become legendary.
They're classics. They're classics.
Yeah,
and so it's like
classics like Naruto. Who cares? You're Naruto.
No. The bad thing about mainstream anime is because people who don't like anime and don't appreciate it start watching that anime, and then they're done.
They're done.
Thank you.
Or
my stepfather.
Slice of life.
Wait,
what that is?
Oh, slice of life.
Thank people.
Megan, if you can continue
my
on that.
64-year-old stepfather watches Attack on Titan.
Oh my
That's bad.
That's the definition of mainstream, right
That's
there.
the definition.
And then he's done.
And then he's done.
I mean, like.
Oh, he also watches Appleseed.
Which is surprisingly not mainstream, though.
Not really.
It's not, because the CGI scene is really difficult to get into. It's not respected amongst otakus.
That's why it's not mainstream.
Your presentation on CGI has to be so good to the point where most people suck at it, and so it can't be mainstream.
See, that's the thing especially with that. Most of the people that have talked to me about Appleseed are just fans. They're not otaku. And that's why, because it's not popular amongst the otaku. Because all the fans like it because it's CGI, and they're like, "Oh, this is an anime. I don't feel like a dork watching this. I feel cool because it's new." But they don't know that it was originally drawn.
I like Sword Art.
I don't know. That's where I feel a difference on, because I haven't really seen anybody. I haven't seen fans or otaku really talk about Appleseed, and most of the time when I see people talk about Appleseed, it's gamers.
That's because it's Appleseed.
Just because it's Appleseed.
It's still growing, bro.
Is there even okay, put in the comment section if Appleseed is currently going.
Because it's an Appleseed.
Because it's an Appleseed.
It's not an apple tree. Did we say apple tree? No.
It's gonna grow.
That's what trout.
No,
but I mean, that's the primary reason why we have a problem with these mainstream fans or these fans of anime, because they come and go, and they're typically the ones that mark up the price of the things that as an otaku you want at times too.
That's a lie. They make figures cheap. Once they go mainstream, you know how many $20 Kirito figures there are.
JR,
crap, but
in that, if that's the case, how come I see markup on Kill la Kill keychains? That are in worse quality?
Because that's in high demand.
That's high demand. Yeah, that's different. That's
because a whole bunch of fans.
Exactly. So it kind of cycles itself back.
It's a different kind of high demand.
Give it like 5 months. all the keychains are going to be a lot more and cheaper,
Exactly.
$2, $3.
Yeah.
Not even a few months.
It's
They're
just
gonna
new
go
right
on
now.
clearance.
It's just and as soon as all the fans buy it,
Chinese
that's
people
gonna
will be
go
like,
all the way
oh,
down.
Americans are buying this. Let's make a lot.
Exactly.
Save them.
And then they can't
I like
sell
how
it,
you
then it goes
specifically
down.
said the
Chinese.
Chinese,
Who else mass produces crap? Mexico. That's right, Mexico. Well, no, China.
Bulgaria.
Nigeria.
Pretty sure
Only
the
with
world
clothing
mass
though.
produces
Yeah.
crap, dude.
Huh?
Nothing.
But that's the primary problem with fans, is that they tend to get hyped for a certain anime
So you're
that
talking
typically
about
has
the fans that are listening right now.
that typically is like, you know, this isn't really to insult you, but you have to understand.
We hate you.
You have to understand.
Differentiate. That's the racism.
You have
You
to-
sit in the back of the bus.
You have to understand what we're, as an otaku, we're kind of going through when it's like, why do we see all of this when we know that there are like 12 things of anime that came out, and now my favorite dealer only carries Dragon Ball Z things because that's all you guys care about.
For
It's a-
example, we're pre-reg. You're registering the day you came.
I did. I was too lazy. I
You
forgot.
change your plans too.
You should change your name to Regan.
Oh.
Funny.
Weeboo, weeboo, weeboo.
He
But-
just needs wings.
Art by Eldoda.
But I mean, like, that is in fact the primary. Now that we kind of know and establish what the problem is and what's going on, would there be ways to not necessarily prevent it, but is there ways to minimize the damage of these like fan or mainstream influxes?
You can't. I don't think you can stop it.
You can.
If
That's
it's really that good.
conglomerates. I think
Now-
know what that word means.
Well, okay, Jr. In that
Sounded
case,
right.
is it really good most of the time?
It is. That's the reason why it gets over here to America, in my opinion.
So even
hello
though,
there. I mean,
so
sorry.
even though
no one's here.
Kill the
No one just walked in.
No
so
one
if
is
that's the
walking.
case, I have a question then. So, did you like Kill the Kill,
Well, that's a personal preference.
or did you like
That's
Free?
like a mass.
But if I guess so,
Hey,
if
we
it's
didn't
the
watch neither though.
So
Why
if
would you
the
say
mass-
that?
I know.
Well,
I
so-
love Sword Art.
so
I was in
if the
second
mass-
season,
Boo.
so I mean, considering
so if the
Yeah, it's
masses
mainstream.
overall say that it's good or that it's
Yeah.
acceptable, then
it's a mass, yeah, it's as a mass. Because me personally, I don't like. The
Are we
genre.
talking about mainstream that just like
I
took
think,
off,
I think
or it
mainstream
like
is good.
had to like not melt,
well, I
sit
mean,
there for a while? Because Attack on Titan, the manga was out for like what 2 years,
Yeah, it's been out.
and then
Yeah.
the anime was like, oh,
Oh, everyone. Yeah.
well, that's the case. I mean, like, you've even had the same problem because manga. Oh my gosh, Megan.
mangas don't
Manga.
get enough credit.
Megan, your thing
No,
is
they do.
manga, right?
I think they do.
Yeah.
Your primary thing is manga.
Yes.
So when you see all of these, like when me or Jason and JR say, "Oh yeah, did you hear about this? This is coming out." Most of the
She probably
time,
knows. She
you
probably saw
already
it
know that it's coming out,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, I've heard
We'll see.
about this, and I choose not to read it. It's just not my thing."
Because
So,
I'm constantly looking on all the manga websites for what's being updated.
so
what's
if that's the
hot.
case,
Last game.
when you
Last
when you hear
game.
about something that's an
I love,
adaptation, how many times, like let's say maybe like 1 out of 10, how many times would you say that it literally does become that it does massively jump once it does become an anime?
There's a lot of anime that I mean,
There's
manga
Attack
that I'm
on
keeping
Titan
up
for
with.
number one example. I don't think I became an otaku early enough to see everything take off.
Okay,
So I haven't seen that much.
Jason,
I'm still trying.
I don't know how much of manga you're into, but when it comes to manga
Last game.
and it comes to adaptations, how many would you say? Let's say 1 out of 10. How many times would you say that adaptation does in fact do good?
Do good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's difficult.
It is kind of difficult. I'd say it's probably like a 50-50.
Okay,
Like,
so now just
I
continue.
was just gonna say like, because yeah,
Good
they will
ending.
change stuff.
Are you keeping up with that?
They will change stuff inside
Oh, good ending.
from the manga to the anime. But sometimes it makes sense. It adds more storyline, and it makes more sense sometimes because like the manga artists. Yes, good storylines,
Mm-hmm.
artwork, and everything. But you have to realize that a lot of times they're just going week by week. and they're like, oh, I think do this, but then they have an ending in mind or connection with characters.
Just like Bakuman.
Exactly.
That explains.
I'll ask another question, but then there's something else I want to get back onto for that. But so out of that 50-50 that you said, out of that 50-50, how many typically become a mainstream anime?
Probably one.
Because I feel as though it's more like 2 per season for the adaptation.
Out of 50 mangas per season, you're saying how many become an anime?
Mainstream.
So let's say 10 manga become an anime.
I'd even
out
say,
of those 10,
depending on the season,
out of
I'd
those
say 5 and
10,
under.
you say about 5 or under. You say about 5 or under actually do
We'll
good.
go mainstream.
Now out of that 5 or under, how many of those in a season would you say become mainstream?
Probably even 0 sometimes. Some seasons none.
So I'd say about.
I'd say 1 every year.
0 to 2 maybe.
So 2 to 0.
A year. I'd say 1 a year.
1 a year.
That's what I think.
Kill was this year. So.
No, I'd
but
say,
Kill
I'd say 0 to 2
2
season.
But didn't Sorter also come out this year?
0 to 1.
Or not? Well, not this year, but Kill la Kill actually came out about.
Oh, fall.
It ended
That
around
was 2 seasons ago.
Was it fall
That was 2
season?
seasons
It
ago.
was fall.
Oh,
So
What else? What else was
that
that?
was with what's his face?
Kyoukai no Kanata is also mainstream.
No,
I think so. I see a lot of meat eyes.
I don't think we
way
see
too many.
enough in comparison to Ryuko's.
And I still don't think enough people really know about it.
Yeah,
How good is mainstream? Well, are we talking about mainstream or like hits? Like
mainstream anime does not necessarily have to be good anime.
Just think
However,
Okay, then never mind. Probably
Yeah.
like 2 a year.
I mean, like when
like 2 a year.
you might as well just call it Team Rocket. It's
Blasting off.
it's Team Rocket anime, okay?
Blasted off again?
And there are
So
certain and there are certain companies that are able to produce Team Rocket. They're like, we got Pikachu's for days, we got Team Rocket.
Our CEO is Giovanni.
Depends on how advertised it is, too. There's
Okay,
too many
that's
things
true.
that
Now,
go into making an mainstream anime.
okay. Now, here's another question. Now, this is what I was thinking about when Jason was making his comment about adaptations and the changes in them.
She's an ad.
One of the most notable changes that is kind of a mainstream, is a mainstream anime is Fullmetal Alchemist.
That's not mainstream. I'm just kidding.
It even has the
Now,
abbreviation.
as you guys already know, there is Fullmetal Alchemist, and then there's Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Brotherhood is supposedly the true to the manga version, and then we have Brotherhood, which is an adaptation with creative license.
What is it about? I know something about Philosopher's
I believe
Stone.
it's the other way around, actually. The Brotherhood, I was told that it's actually closer to the manga.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the original Fullmetal is
Mainstream.
both are mainstream because
I don't think
of
Brotherhood's
it.
as mainstream as the...
Most people rewatched it again, and then they
Yeah.
just want to know the differences.
Yeah, they did.
Now, I mean, out of your fan base, it was kind of difficult, but I mean, I think it's going to be also the same thing with Fate Zero. A lot of people or Fate Stay Night. Fate Stay Night is not necessarily old. I think it's almost under the same qualifications as
Fate Zero.
Fullmetal Alchemist because it's a remake,
Fate Zero is...
guaranteed. It's only getting hyped up again because we just got a prequel. And this new season of it, or this new remake, only is probably going to have updated graphics. It's going to just have upgraded graphics to match Fate's
BlackRock
Fate Zero.
CG. Fate Zero is freaking awesome.
So I mean,
Black Rock
We're
Shooter.
talking about that.
get out of here. So
I
I mean,
BlackRock Shooter.
so with that in mind, and I mean, and Megan, I think you can also talk about this.
Words.
When these anime they start becoming manga. I mean, when these mangas start becoming anime.
That does happen sometimes.
That
Blue, for instance.
When,
does happen.
but in this particular instance, when manga becomes anime, how much of these changes can you deal with? Because this is
See, that's a thing. Yeah, that's a thing.
Don't get out.
I mean, because even this season, or even like the mainstream anime that we've been talking about, Attack on Titan,
Yeah, so that's
had major changes from what I hear in the manga.
I can go
No, that's
on
what he's
and on
adding.
about
Still.
And then
Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic.
And
I
then-
can go on and on.
there you go. And
About
then
the
Fullmetal
differences.
Alchemist had so much of a change where they literally had to make a new series.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
It's not just the major differences that bother you; it's the minor differences.
The details. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
some details. If you don't get it right, your anime can just be booty hole. It's like
booty hole.
It's booty hole.
In your TV.
Not just booty.
No,
booty
Megan,
hole.
would you say that Magi is a mainstream anime
Yes.
or manga?
I saw people cosplaying as it today.
Or would you overall just say that it's a mainstream manga?
It's
What?
both.
It's
What?
both.
It's-
Would you say that
if
Magi is a mainstream anime and
It's
or
a
manga? I would say that it's just a mainstream manga.
It was a manga.
But I
It was
wouldn't
definitely
necessarily say it's a
popular.
mainstream anime. I feel
I
almost
don't
like
think the anime is getting as much.
I almost feel like it's kind of like Fairy Tail.
Fairy Tail.
Because Fairy Tail
I
is a
love
mainstream.
Fairy Tail.
Yeah, Fairy Tail is a mainstream manga.
It's
but I
one of
wouldn't
those
say
mainstream
that it's a
ones people
mainstream
love.
anime.
Fairy Tail?
No, Magi. People love Magi.
But people love
I do.
Magi
I
to the
love
same
Hina.
extent that people love Fairy Tail. I almost would say that if the big three were to end right now, Magi and Fairy Tail could
Would
take
take
at
it,
least
yeah.
2 places right there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
So they're pretty much evened out.
To Love Rusha.
I still don't think Magi is getting as much attention as Fairy Tail or other ones.
No,
and I think
it's
it's mainly
not. No,
because
it's
Fairy
not.
Tail came kind of right after One
It's-
Piece.
Plus,
So-
yeah, isn't it the same creator?
Yes, it is.
So I mean,
That's why.
you have that respectable credit right there, where it's like, you know, I know that you do good work. This somewhat feels similar, and in Fairy Tail's, like, I guess you could say it could be a good change or a bad change depending on how you like One Piece.
I love.
I know that I don't like One. I know that I don't like One Piece because of the art, but Fairy Tail's art seems more consistent to me, in my opinion.
They change it up next season.
But it doesn't look as dramatic
Yeah,
as
it's not as
Usopp's
dramatic.
nose.
I actually like it more.
It does,
Changing it from
but I
One
mean,
Piece
like, it's
completely.
not as
Yeah,
crazy
nice to
as
watch expressed.
Usopp's nose and
Yeah.
Nico Robin's nose. I mean, those are some things where it's like, when if I'm looking at One Piece, I may not have the appeal for it, but
Yeah.
Fairy Tail, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a fix for everyone, but for me, that's personally a fix. It drives me to actually want to watch Fairy Tail.
No offense to you One Piece fans, but I never really liked One Piece art. So Fairy Tail actually looked different.
And that's what most One Piece
I
people
want
have.
this to offend every fan that watches or
You
reads
guys
Attack-
suck! I'm just kidding.
Attack
I
on
go watch
Titan.
this.
That art looks like booty hole
It was
And
interesting.
because
No,
it
it
looks
was
like
interesting.
eyeliner.
on their
They-
face and body.
Like they took eyeliner and outlined their whole body.
And I did not.
Chinese calligraphy.
talking about this.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Chinese calligraphy.
It looks ugly.
Okay,
And
so
really to each their own, but
Yeah,
I kind of
it's
have
to
to
each
agree.
their own.
Be offended.
but back to the main topic.
We
though.
hate you. So anyway, keep,
when
keep
these
listening to
manga
us.
when these manga turn to anime, and they do have these changes, does it ever get to a point like maybe like Brotherhood? I mean, maybe like Fullmetal Alchemist, it does need to have a second series, or it needs to have like a sort of true to the story,
True to
and
true.
here's what you have.
Where it needs to. Yeah. I can see in some cases, especially when they jacked it up. Like totally messed up the storyline and those subtle details. Yeah.
Like for example, one of my series, Gundam. Now this isn't really Gundam is mainstream. Overall, ultimately, Gundam is a mainstream
it's
sort of
not.
idea, but I think Gundam, depends on the subject, or depends on what series. For example, there are some people who only watch Gundam Wing.
Wasn't there that
And
chibi
Gundam
one?
00.
That chibi Gundam?
Yeah, that was SD Gundam, but nobody. But that's mostly for like
Gundam?
I actually
hardcore
watched
Gundam.
it. It was kind of
But-
funny.
But that's like hardcore
How
Gundam
long
fans.
has Gundam
Oh,
been
okay.
out? Since the 70s, right?
It's been out for a very long time.
Not so much.
No.
It's been out for a pretty long time. I mean, I think we've
Are you
had.
sure it's not like 79 or something?
My name is
JR.
Maybe.
I think we've at least had 40 years of Gundam.
Yeah.
I think.
I
Yeah.
think it's been like 40 years.
No.
I
I
believe
say 39.
I believe we've had 40 years of Gundam. I'm not sure on that. Somebody in the comment section, please tell us how many years of Gundam we've had. But Gundam's been out for a very long time. But it's it's dependent on what series you like. There's some people who only like Wing. There's some people who like Wing, Z, whatever. The point of me why I'm bringing that up is because
I watched that when I was a kid, dude.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
the point of why I'm bringing that up is because Gundam Seed is also a mainstream Gundam anime, and so it got a HD remake. And so I didn't really think it needed it. It just got one.
Like Evangelion.
I mean,
You can't HD that much, dude.
but no. But I think it's like almost like a remaster.
still.
which is different,
back
apparently.
in the day.
By Square Enix's definition, apparently, a remaster and a remake are two different things. So I'm not sure which one this qualifies as, but the graphics are very much enhanced. They do look a lot better.
Okay.
It doesn't look as pixelated.
Or fuzzy or anything.
Or fuzzy. They like, ooh, let me, dude, this is kind of dusty. Let me dust this screen off real quick. Okay, cool. $50. $50 for a box.
My breath made it $50.
Bandai was just like,
dude,
dust. This is only worth $20 now. Let me dust. Hey, you got some paint real quick? All right, 70. 70.
And you suck us for 70.
You know you want it. I'll sign it, but it's gonna be 80.
Figured that they make it 100 too.
God.
I'll sign each CD, but that's gonna be $8.50.
Per.
$8.50 per CD.
Per letter.
Per letter. Oh my
Hell
god.
no.
But yeah, that's some of the
stickers with your name on.
So back to like the main subject of this, which is the fans versus the otaku.
The mainstream subject of this podcast.
Weeboo.
So I think one of the things also kind of with the racism part between otaku and fan, one is it really does take two to tango, and we personally don't really mind it too much. I mean, like, yes, it gets kind of annoying, but we're not like those really douchebag otaku, because there are some.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, and they'll be hating on everybody.
I know.
All day, every day. Not even just fans, but even otaku.
Now, how high of a level would you say these otakus are? Just to clarify. I mean, because I've seen some.
No life.
I would say.
They'll walk around.
I would say that the highest level of douchebag otaku are
the Toho
otaku
guys.
No.
Toho guys. Those
the
are
otaku who watch mainstream anime just so that way they can personally find these fans of mainstream anime and talk to them about how bad their anime is and or where they ripped off other parts. Now, Kill la Kill may be an exception to that only because Gurren Lagann has kind of become a classic, and Panty and Stalking is like was kind of like a first of its own thing,
like
and so
classic.
That's weird. It's like
stop, dude.
It's not sexy enough, but it is. It's
was
high.
Just dirty. Like
it's just whole
episode. She gets out of the bed with a cop. I'm like, what?
But it was just
classic, John.
It's just hilarious, though.
Right? You're like, I'm gonna watch me some Panty and Stalking. Where's my lotion and tissue?
There you go. He said it's not dirty enough.
Back to subject though. Like
my lotion.
My lotion. Good sir, my lotion.
You're using Jergens, right?
Oh my god.
It doesn't chafe. Go ahead, Molly.
Oh my god.
Go ahead, Molly.
Okay, skip.
Millhouse, the oil. Yes, master.
No, a high-level douchebag otaku is the ones that will walk around Artist Alley and say how much some art sucks right in front of the artist.
Like
I hate that crap.
Or the ones that go up to them and correct it.
Look at this.
Oh my
God. It looks like poop.
This is wrong. This
color
is...
Now,
this is...
wait. Now, let's give an example of a non-douchebag who does do this. For example, I've gone to Artist Alley and I've seen Zuko's.
Ugly.
I've seen some Zuko's. And funny enough, they do put his scar on the wrong side sometimes. So, I don't think I'm a douche for telling them, dude, your scar's on the wrong side. When even the show has talked about, nice Zuko outfit, but your scar's on the wrong side. I mean, it's just a hilarious thing to talk about.
But maybe, especially with Zuko, maybe they did it just for that.
Now, a douchebag would be somebody, for example, who's like, a douchebag would be somebody like, oh, dude, I saw you drew Charmander, but you know his eye is like 1/2 of a centimeter off.
Oh my god!
And then they pull out a tape measure. See?
Sometimes it's annoying.
Now, like an example would be almost like kind of like I think like a trick example would be like a Pokemon like Wailord, because if you ever play the game, if you ever play the game, you know that when you battle against a Wailord, or even if you're like playing like Pokemon Stadium or even on X and Y, they put Wailord and Pikachu as the same size.
Yeah.
Yet in Pokemon World, a Wailord is like Yeezus of the Pokemon size.
Dude,
When was Yeezus that gigantic?
Oddish is like the same
Jesus.
as Wailord.
I believe.
Believe.
So, I mean, like, in that example, if somebody said that, dude, that Wailord is way too...
No, that's what it sounded like.
But, in that example, if somebody said the Wailord was too big...
That's what she said.
It'd be
Where's
like...
your lotion?
Or if they said that Wailord was too small, it'd be like, well, actually, I'm drawing it through battle purposes. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. So, like...
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Pay attention.
Jason was fapping. Hard. But what's like a high, like... So we already got back into like these douchebag otakus. Now, where is it when you notice that the fans are provoking this?
The fans, especially when they watch, like we were saying, it has that giant boom of popularity and that's all they watch. Fans have this thing where they're like, dude, you should watch this. No, I'm okay. It's not really my thing. No, you should watch this. And they like shove it down your throat.
What?
And they always do that to otaku, the wrong person.
It's like, seriously?
It's like, dude,
Now,
it's not.
we
understand. It's like to each their own.
Now here's an
Don't
example
shove it
of
down
this.
my throat.
Can I say?
Have you watched Sword Art?
What he did?
You should watch.
Can I say what he did?
now on my
What?
phone.
I don't know.
Your kin to him.
Your kin?
I'm just gonna
Family to me.
since Megan has lost brain cells momentarily, I'm just gonna say it. So Megan's brother has recently just got into Attack on Titan.
Oh, hell no, nigga.
He's
What's
hot,
that?
and his cousin has recently just got into Attack on Titan. Now,
Ew.
both of them would say they watch anime, but they're not otaku. With that in mind, every time Jason goes over to watch any sort of anime, all we hear is, dude, that shading looks just like Attack on Titans. Oh man, this seems really actiony, but I mean, like, it's almost like Attack on Titan.
Oh, I hate
I don't watch like My Little Pony.
Dude, have you been did you start watching Attack on Titan yet? Dude, I told you I didn't want to watch Attack on Titan. Dude, I'm telling you, you should watch it though. It's on Adult Swim now, so you can totally watch it.
They've called me stupid for not watching
Attack on Titan is on Adult Swim?
And it's going to be, yes.
What the heck?
So, I mean, that is an example where the fan is clearly provoking you into it. Also, another problem is...
We hate you. I mean, seriously, that's what you're saying, dude.
You just said you hate my
You guys
brother.
are pissing us off.
Another situation that we have is we have the fan that thinks that they like anime, and so they're not sure. And so you try to help them get into it more, and they don't listen to any suggestion whatsoever. And so you're like, okay, you like Attack on Titan. Do you like it for the gore factor? Do you like it for the action? Do you like it for the story? Like, oh, I like it for everything. And it's like, okay, well, here's some anime that has specific parts from this. Maybe you should watch them. They're like, okay. So Attack on Titan ends. And I'm bored. I don't know what to do. Oh, wait, I got this list of anime.
Sword Art.
I got an idea. I'm going to rewatch Attack on Titan. And so now, for an additional month, we have to deal with your love of Attack on Titan.
Dude,
now,
I was just rewatching Attack on Titan.
Again,
I
we
think
don't...
the whole
this is the
subject
best.
Do you like having a
of
face?
this whole podcast was Attack on Titan.
No, Attack on Titan, because I haven't watched it, I can't even necessarily say that's bad. But
Is it bad looking?
Are you eating, though?
Nigga, are you eating though?
Breakfast, lunch, and
Back
dinner
to
for
the
beginners, you don't even know.
Damn, we just like attacked her. We can beat her.
And now Megan understands what it feels like to be an otaku around fans.
You should see her face.
It's quite scared.
It looks like someone just farted into her.
She no longer. You know what? I even have to deal with this, Megan. I even have to deal with this with you sometimes.
I know.
But so
the fan comes out in all otaku.
Megan loves. Well, this one isn't really otaku much. Megan loves Bravest Warriors.
What?
Yes.
She loves it to a level.
what that is.
Also, she loves
What is
anything
that?
that's abridged.
Oh, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Nigga!
Megan loves anything that's abridged, and she loves Bravest Warriors. She's a YouTube person. She's a YouTube person. So
Hey, YouTube.
anytime I go to her house, thanks to this new piece of torture technology known as the Chromecast, it makes it twice as easy for her to go on her phone and spam Bravest Warriors or a Bleach series. This is what the this is the problem that I have to deal with constantly. It's just bad.
Even worse is that some other friends of ours, we quote it
all the time, to the point where their friends lose their brain cells.
I thought I was going to lose brain cells today.
I just lost brain cells.
Your female equivalent in the other room kept saying, "Did you kill the colossal titan?"
I only started doing that to troll you.
I almost lost.
It's not that it's not funny. That's an example right there. It's not that
being sarcastic.
It's not that Bravest Warriors or that some Bleach series aren't actually funny. They don't have a good joke in there. It's not entertaining.
That was from Attack on Titan Abridged.
I just personally don't really care for it. Sword Art Online. Actually, Sword Art Online didn't appeal to me only because I'm a fan of Dot Hack, and so it just felt like blasphemy.
Sword Art.
Blasphemy.
It was.
Nope.
It was like you just made the taboo human transmutation. Nope. Somebody's gonna get that.
Okay, and just to be clear, the only reason JR loves Sword Art Online is because of Asuna, because that's one of his waifus.
The first half.
That's about it.
So
the first half.
Actually,
so you only like her torso or her legs?
No, the anime.
I know.
It's another one of your waifus.
She's gorgeous. She turns into a flower, so you deflower her. So.
Deflower, dude.
That means there's many men around the world
deflowering. He wants to deflower Asuna.
She sits down and looks like a flower.
Anyways, back to the point. Is there anything really, guys, else that you could say? That I mean, like,
we hate you.
You said that so many. Well, that's what.
Because I'm
saying.
Just to know, that's all JR.
JR just lost so many brain cells to the point where all he can say now is, "I hate you."
I hate you.
Act as this page.
I know.
Legally, and I hate you.
For some people.
They're creating it a norm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's more accepted now than it was before. You know, it was kind of looked down on before, but now it's like, oh, everyone's going to Fanime. Oh, you're going to Fanime too. Like before, that would have never been the case. I was like, what the heck is that?
Now, again,
now it's like,
we tried to make this podcast because we want people who are fans.
We love you, but hate you at the same time.
We want people who are fans to legitimately get into anime, and we're not saying that starting off with
we're trying to get you past the top 3.
We're not
intervention.
It's not that we believe that Sword Art Online or Attack on Titan or anything like that isn't a good start.
Sword Art.
I mean, because I think that because I think that I do believe that it's fair to, if you're going to start into something, it's good to just have a group of people who are going to egg you on to watch something. I really did not think I was going to start finishing Miku City, but apparently I've been egged on enough to do it. Also because of my love for Vocaloid, which isn't really a love, it's just more of an interest.
Oh, that was a love for me, darn. What?
Fail.
Vocaloid is spammed.
Vocaloid voice is spammed, but in Miku City's case, it gets rid of that.
It is.
Mekoku City, I have to agree.
Well, Hatsune Miku is
Hatsune Miku is spammed because out of the Vocaloids, I only know her name. Oh, I know and Luca.
Who are they?
The twins?
Rin and Len are the twins.
Yeah.
Kaito is the dude.
How do you guys know this crap?
He has the album.
Their music is actually
JR,
really catchy.
JR, get out of the room right now.
Wait, but I know this stuff. Why don't I have to get out?
You get out of the room.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I didn't know their names.
Yeah.
From the side.
Yeah.
Mako.
So we're kind of getting almost to the end of it, but again, we make those podcasts not because we don't think that those are good ideas to start off with, but we do think that you need to grow if you're going to start talking to otakus about, hey, you should watch this.
Hey, you should shut your mouth.
Odds are
we hate you.
Odds are we hate you. That's what I'm just saying.
Odds are we already know the anime that we're talking about. So rather instead of telling us you should watch it, just say, hey, I've been recently watching this. I find it very entertaining.
You should check it out.
Since I noticed,
I hate you.
Since I know that you are an otaku, or that you are someone with a high caliber of anime knowledge, do you think that you could tell us more about anime, and then just go from there?
It's only 45 minutes.
Please like and subscribe.
to add, it's not that any of us did not give the animes we talked about a chance.
We did.
I did give
Don't
Attack
talk
on
bad
Titan.
about Sword Art.
I gave Attack on Titan. I gave Sword Art a chance and it failed.
No, it
I
does
gave
not
Attack
fail.
on Titan a
The
chance,
first half doesn't fail.
and it was awful.
Up to episode 15.
hate you again.
I legitly wanted to watch for the storyline,
What?
and the storyline did not capture me at all.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on
You know
Titan.
what?
Are you ticklish?
So like, so that concludes
Please like
our
and subscribe.
episode today of
Please
Team
like.
Taku. See,
our Facebook
please,
page.
if you enjoyed this conversation and you want to hear more, not of JR, but
Screaming at the back.
please
Don't look
like,
down on Sword Art.
please like and subscribe to this page.
Like me on Facebook.
For future episodes, we will continue to have some guests at some
Follow us
other
on
times. And
We don't have a Twitter.
please follow us on and like us on Facebook. I guess you can follow on
us
Facebook
on Reddit.
now.
Yeah,
But I mean, that still makes you look like a stalker because that's a lot more work.
Momo.
it's okay. We like stalkers.
But that's okay. You can stalk us if you want
Cute,
to.
cute waifu day
Just
soon.
call us and we'll give you a blanket sitting
Fukai
outside.
des.
Who you kind of.
But that concludes
I will
our
notice me now.
episode of J-Taku. Yay!
J-Taku.
Wait, what?
You said J Taku, nigga.
Nigga, we out!
Ba-ju, 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 ju, ju.